Ceremonial.
Stand for.
Ceremonial. At ease.
Come. Stand at ease.
Attention, please. The ceremony that you are about to witness is an Armed Forces Full Honor Wreath ceremony. The wreath will be placed by the President of the United States. The host for today's ceremony is Major General Trevor J. Breitenkamp, Commanding General, Joint Task Force, National Cavalry Region, and United States Army Military District of Washington. The firing of a 21-gun salute will signal the beginning of today's ceremony. It is requested that everyone remain silent and standing during the ceremony. On the first note of the music, all military personnel in uniform will render the hand salute. All military personnel not in uniform will remove their headgear with the right hand and hold it at the left shoulder with the hand over the heart. It is appropriate for all others to place the right hand over the heart. The musical honors will be played in the following order. The national anthem of the United States of America. Later, muffled ruffles and taps will conclude the honors. In the conduct of this ceremony, it is our desire to maintain an atmosphere of both dignity and respect. Your cooperation will be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Honor, time.
Urging so.
Attention. Ceremonial.
Ceremonial.
At ease.
Come. Stand at ease.
Honor, time.
Urging so.
Attention. Ceremonial.
Ceremonial.
At ease.
Come. Stand at ease.
guard! Attention!
Wreath-Laying, Commanding General, Joint Staff, National Capital, and United States Army, Military District of Washington. And Command Master Chief Petty Officer Retired, John S. Hinson, National Peak Reserve Association.
Ceremonial
Ceremonial.
at ease!
Come. Stand at ease.
Everything's on. Attention!
Color. Right shoulder on. High. Carry. High. Colors ready. Cut.
The Armed Forces Honor Guard and United States Army Band are formed and waiting as the President of the United States moves to the tomb of the unknown soldier to place the wreath.
Left turn.
Present!
Present!
Out!
Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us live to make men free while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. This truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. This truth is marching
Distinguished guests, Major General Trevor J. Brandenkamp, Commanding General of Joint Task Force, National Capital Region, and the United States Military District of Washington. Miss Karen Durham Aguilera, Executive Director, Army National Military Cemeteries and the Office of Army Cemeteries. Mr. John S. Hanzik, National President, Fleet Reserve Association, and the Honorable Dennis McDonough, Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Distinguished guest, the President of the United States. Distinguished guests, please remain standing for the procession of our nation's colors and those of our veterans service organizations. As we march on the colors, the United States Marine Band will play the National Emblem March. Please place your right hand over your heart or render a hand salute. Distinguished guests, please remain standing for the invocation given by Chaplain Kimberly Willis, Executive Director of the Chaplain Service for the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, and for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning. Please join me in a prayer commensurate with your faith tradition. Let us pray. Sovereign Architect of the universe, we summon your presence to this hallowed amphitheater where we congregate as one people. In this sanctuary of remembrance, we lift our collective voice to exalt those who don the uniform in our nation's defense. These stalwart guardians, champions of America's loftiest ideas, have stood as sentinels of human dignity, freedom's fierce advocates, and justice's unwavering allies. From twilight last gleaming to dawn's early light, they've maintained their vigil on terra firma across turbulent seas, in skies both serene and storm-tossed, and even unto the stars themselves. Their sacrifice has been the mortar binding the bricks of our shining city on the hill, a beacon of hope for all, from the mightiest to the most humble. You, O divine weaver of destinies, know intimately each thread in the tapestry of their lives, every name, every face, every silent burden borne. Omniscient healer, you perceive the wounds both seen and unseen, the scars etched upon body and soul. Your balm of comfort envelops those awaiting the return of those missing in action and those who have lost their beloved to the altar of liberty. Your strength, O bulwark against grief's relentless tide. Benevolent Creator, we beseech your blessings upon the Department of Veteran Affairs and veteran service organizations who champion our veterans' cause. Extend your grace to the families and caregivers who walk alongside our heroes, and guide the hands of those tasked with mending the wounds of war. Finally, we ask that you bless each person here today with the strength to carry forward the torch of democracy. May we be found worthy of the legacy our veterans have entrusted to us by tending to the garden of freedom with vigilance and care, and may God continue to bless the United States of America, guiding us to realize our promise. In your holy name we pray, amen.
Now, I'd like to invite Mr. John S. Hanzik, National President, Fleet Reserve Association, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. It is now my distinct privilege to introduce you the members of the Veterans Day National Committee. The committee was formed by presidential order in 1954 to plan this annual observance in honor of America's veterans and to support Veterans Day observances throughout the nation. Please hold your applause until I have introduced each special guest. If you're able, please stand when your name is called. Retired Command Master Chief Petty Officer John S. Hanzik, National President, Fleet Reserve Association. Retired Sergeant Major Horace Johnson, National Commander, AMVETS. Mr. Joseph Patterson, National Commander, Army and Navy Union, United States of America. Retired United States Navy Force Master Chief Gary McCure, President, Non-Commissioned Officers Association of the United States of America. Mr. Gary B. Leach, National Vice Commander, the American Legion. Mr. Robert Oliveras, Jr., National Commander, Military Order of the Purple Heart. Mr. Timothy Morgan, National Commandant and Chief Executive Officer, Marine Corps League. Retired United States Army, Major General Father William D. Razwoff, Executive Director, Military Chaplains Association of the United States of America. Mr. Robert Thomas, National President and Chairman of the Board, Paralyzed Veterans of America. Mr. Michael Perry, National Commander, Legion of Valor of the United States of America. Retired United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel David J. Worley, Commander-in-Chief, Military Order of the World Wars. Retired United States Navy Chief Petty Officer Deborah Olshig, Immediate Past National President, TRIA, the Enlisted Association. Retired United States Army Colonel Paris Davis, Medal of Honor recipient, Congressional Medal of Honor, Society of the United States of America. Mr. Daniel Contreras, National Commander, Disabled American Veterans. Retired United States Air Force Lieutenant General Brian Kelly, President and Chief Executive Officer, Military Officers Association of America. Commander Catherine Jakes, Chair, Board of Directors, Commissioned Officers Association of the United States Public Health Service. Mr. Keith Reed, Chief Executive, Air Force Sergeants Association. Mr. Michael Stetz, National Commander, Polish Legion of American Veterans of the United States of America. Retired United States Army, Sergeant First Class David Pickett, National President, Korean War Veterans Association of the United States of America. Mr. David Rodriguez, Sr., National Commander, American GI Forum of the United States. Mr. Lawrence Wolf, National Commander, Catholic War Veterans. Mr. Paul Mims, National President, Blinded Veterans Association. Retired United States Army Command Sergeant Major Gary Ginsberg, National Commander, Jewish War Veterans of the United States of America. Mr. John McManus, National President, Vietnam Veterans of America. Mr. Tim Peters, National Junior Vice Commander-in-Chief, Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States. The Associate and Emeritus members of the committee are also here with us today. I'd like to ask the Presidents and National Commanders who comprise of our Associate and Emeritus membership to stand and be recognized. Distinguished guests, please join me in recognizing our veterans' national leadership with your applause. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director, Army National Military Cemeteries and the Office of Army Cemeteries, Ms. Karen Durham Aguilera.
Hey, good morning. What a beautiful day. But every day is a beautiful day here at Arlington National Cemetery. On behalf of the Secretary of the Army, Honorable Warmoth, and the dedicated men and women who serve here, welcome to Arlington National Cemetery. I especially extend a warm welcome to President Joe Biden. Thank you, Mr. President, for being with us. and honoring our nation's veterans. Welcome also to First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, Vice President Harris, and Second Gentleman Imhoff. I want to thank the host for today's observance, Secretary of Veteran Affairs McDonough, and his key guests, Fleet Reserve Association National President, Mr. John Hansick. Welcome. Our Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, and our Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown. Welcome also to visiting dignitaries, Cabinet Secretaries, Service Chiefs, our veterans and families, and everyone watching across our great nation. Thank you for being with us. The theme of Veterans Day 2024 is a legacy of loyalty and service. For over 160 years, Arlington National Cemetery's legacy has been to serve, proudly and honorably, as the final resting place for more than 420,000 service members and their families. I cannot think of a more fitting place than here, the very center of our nation's most hallowed grounds, to commemorate and honor America's past, present, and future service members. Arlington National Cemetery embodies our nation's enduring gratitude for our veterans. Each grave marker and monument tell a story of service, commitment, and sacrifice. These 639 acres represent a solemn gathering place for families and friends to remember their service members, celebrate their contributions, and take comfort in their everlasting legacy that continues to uplift our country today. It is poignant that each person here today and across the nation, we can all recall the impact a service member has had on our lives, whether personally or through the steadfast protection of our nation. The courageous actions of those who serve have an enduring legacy, not just in the United States, but across the world. And as you walk the grounds of our nation's most sacred shrine, remember, no gravesite at Arlington National Cemetery can ever be purchased. Each must be earned with honorable service. To those with family or friends laid to rest here, please know we will always take care of your loved one. Remember them and recognize their service to this great nation. This commitment is the heartbeat of our mission, and each day it inspires every one of our active duty, veteran, and civilian employees. To serve here is an honor and a privilege. I extend my gratitude to spouses, parents, family members, and the Gold Star community for your unwavering devotion and commitment to your loved ones who have served or are currently serving in any capacity. Your courageous support does not go unnoticed. And for veterans, you are the backbone of our country. You have taken an oath to honor and protect our country. And in the words of President Eisenhower, your service preserves our heritage of freedom. And our mission at Arlington National Cemetery is to honor you always. We see you and we celebrate your legacy, loyalty, and service today and every day. Again, welcome to Arlington National Cemetery. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce our Veterans Service Organization host for 2024, the Fleet Reserve Association. Today on Veterans Day, the Fleet Reserve Association celebrates its 100th anniversary as a congressionally chartered VSO. FRA is dedicated to representing the interests and needs of former and current members of the United States Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard before Congress and other government agencies. FRA was born out of the need to protect the pay and benefits of sea service members and their families. Founded by Navy Chief Yeoman George L. Carlin, FRA received its charter in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1924. In 1998, FRA became the first organization to seek repeal of the Military Retirement Reform Act, leading Congress to change the law. FRA joined other VSOs in campaigns, such as authorizing pay hikes for mid-career enlisted personnel. calling for payday lending reform, providing post 9/11 GI Bill benefits to career personnel and their families, implementing absentee voting reform, passing the Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act, and most recently, the passing of the PACT Act. FRA is a sponsor of the Navy Sailors and Recruiters of the Year, the Marine Corps Recruiters and Drill Instructors of the Year, and the Coast Guard Enlisted Persons and Recruiters of the Year. Annually, FRA sponsors a patriotic-themed essay contest for students in grades 7 through 12 and awards higher education scholarships to sea service family members totaling more than $100,000. At the forefront of FRA's engagement during the past year is FRA's national president, Mr. John S. Hanzik. A Vietnam veteran, Mr. Hanzik joined FRA in 1968. In September 2023, he was elected to the position of FRA national president. Honored guests, please welcome the president of the Reserve Association, Mr. John S. Hanzik.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the 2024 Veterans Day service here at Arlington. We gather here in these hallowed grounds to honor and give thanks to all our veterans for their service and sacrifice in protecting our great nation. Some of my thunder was stolen a little bit ago, but I'm going to say this anyway. In 1954, under then-President Dwight Eisenhower, Armistice Day was transitioned to become Veterans Day to honor and include all veterans. I believe it was his intent when he said to include all veterans. He also meant veterans who had made the ultimate sacrifice. To my fellow veterans, I salute you. And I thank you for your service and sacrifice. But there's another group out here today and across this great nation that also deserves recognition. It's our families and our loved ones who support and sacrifice us while we serve. We couldn't have done our jobs without their support. And to you, I also say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Once again, I'm going to repeat something, but I have to do this because I'm very proud of it. This is also a special day for the Fleet Reserve Association, as previously mentioned. On this day in 1924, Congress chartered us as a veteran service organization. We are 100 years old. To my fellow shipmates, happy birthday! I mentioned to the VA secretary a moment ago before I got up here to speak, never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine becoming national president, let alone for the centennial, or the honor and privilege to address all of you today. But again, I want to say thank you for attending. God bless our troops. Bring them home safe. God bless our families and their families, and keep them safe. And God bless America. Now I am honored to introduce the host for today's ceremony and our chair for the Veterans Day National Committee and the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, John.
My pleasure.
Oh, nice. Thank you, President. Yes, you do.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. John, thank you very much for that introduction, for your leadership of the Fleet Reserve Association, and a special thanks to your team for partnering with VA and hosting today's ceremony. Mr. President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Ranking Member Takano, teammates among the cabinet members, most importantly, all the veterans, your families, caregivers, and survivors, good morning. In all of America, there is no place more sacred than the ground we stand on today here in Arlington and across our country's national and state veteran cemeteries. Here lie in eternal rest presidents and privates, five-star generals, Medal of Honor recipients, and anonymous heroes known but to God. There are veterans from every American war since the Revolution, including veterans of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan buried in Section 60. Every new grave dug, every benediction murmured, every tear shed, every solemn commitment to this hallowed ground tells the story of our nation's history. Yet as I look around, I see something else too. I see friends, loved ones, family members of veterans. Some sitting next to their veteran, holding hands, grateful for their presence. Others here to mourn their lost loved one, buried within these sacred hills overlooking our nation's capital. As John just said, military and veteran family members may not wear a uniform, but their courage and sacrifice are profound and worthy of our admiration. Military families endure the hardships of long deployments and training exercises without their loved ones. They pick up their lives and move across the country, even across the globe when their service member gets a new assignment. They selflessly care for the injured or ill service member or veteran when they're unable to care for themselves. So we're here today to honor them as well. I'm thinking of veteran family members like Angela Bell. Angela's son, Sean, served 20 years in the Army and died by suicide in 2021. Angela has dedicated her life to helping other families avoid that same devastation. I'm thinking of Cindy and Lee Stover, who've cared for their son, Joe, a Navy veteran, since he was partially paralyzed after a traumatic brain injury. Cindy and Lee show that veteran caregivers are heroes too. I'm thinking of Danny Ingram, Marine veteran, husband to a fellow Marine, Staff Sergeant Eric Alva, the first Marine seriously injured in the Iraq War. Danny fights for all veterans and family members, saying that, like so many military spouses, I do what I can to be supportive of someone who's not only my love, but also my hero. I'm thinking of Ellen Gustafson, wife of an active duty Navy SEAL. Ellen brings together veterans and military family members to volunteer as poll workers, strengthening our nation and its democracy through public service. I'm thinking of Jeremy Hilton, Navy veteran and Air Force spouse. Jeremy has found a new mission, advocating for military children with special needs. And I'm thinking of family members like VA's Deputy Secretary Tanya Bradshaw, Army combat vet, spouse, daughter, granddaughter of combat veterans. An example of the shared family value of service that is so often passed down from one generation to another. Of course, we have another strong military family in attendance today. The surviving mother and father of Iraq combat vet, Major Bo Biden. President Biden and Dr. Biden have been unrelenting in their advocacy for veterans and their families. President Biden has spent his entire career fighting like hell for veterans, just as he charged me and my VA teammates to do 4 years ago. He has continuously demanded that VA deliver more care and more benefits to more vets than ever before. Mr. President, thank you for your no-nonsense, frequently personally delivered in unmistakable fashion. Demand that VA take care of vets. Thank you for reminding us that we still have so much work to do. And thank you for always, always keeping the faith. With that, it is my great privilege and my profound honor to introduce the 46th President of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a great honor to be standing here again. Over 160 years ago, during what would become his final days in office, President Abraham Lincoln addressed this nation, and he said, "Let us strive on to finish the work we're in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle." My fellow Americans, First Lady, Vice President Harris, and Second Gentleman, Secretary Blinken, Austin, McDonough, Mayorkas, Chairman Brown, most importantly, our veterans, service members, and their families. I've said it many times before. I got in trouble for saying it when I was a young senator. I said, we have many obligations, but only one truly sacred obligation. Sacred. To prepare those we send into harm's way and to care for them and their families when they return home and when they don't. It's an obligation, not based on party or politics, but on a promise that unites us all. Today, as we strive on to finish the work of our moment, to bind the nation's wounds once again, we commit and recommit to this sacred vow. This is the last time I will stand here at Arlington as Commander-in-Chief. It's been the greatest honor of my life to lead you, to serve you, to care for you, to defend you, just as you defended us, generation after generation after generation. You are the greatest fighting force, and this is not hyperbole, the finest fighting force in the history of the world. I'll never forget standing at Valley Forge, our nation's first soldiers laid down their lives to deliver a nation where everyone is entitled to inalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And I'll never forget walking the hills of Gettysburg, where thousands more shed their blood to make those words real. I'll never forget in Belleau Woods, visiting there to pay tribute to the heroes who stepped on that beach, or standing in the cliffs of Normandy 80 years after D-Day to honor the service members and veterans who literally saved the world with absolute heroism. Just standing there, you wonder how in God's name did they have the courage to do what they did. I'll never forget visiting bases in Korea, where America's sons and daughters answers a call to defend the people they had never met. For paying my respects in Hanoi, where so many of our troops defended democracy, including my friend and once worked for me, Senator John McCain. I'll never forget my trips to Afghanistan and Iraq, where tour after tour, young men and women served and sacrificed to keep our nation safe. 4 presidents faced a decision after we had gotten bin Laden whether to end our longest war in history in Afghanistan. I was determined not to leave it to the 5th. Every day I still carry a card with me, my schedule every single day for the last 10 years. On the back of my schedule it says, U.S. daily troops in Afghanistan. U.S. troops died in Afghanistan as of today, 2,465. Troops wounded in Afghanistan, 20,769. U.S. troops, Iraq, died in Iraq, 4,620. Wounded in Iraq, 32,766. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my duty as president, but also as a parent. Like many of you, our son Beau Biden deployed to Iraq for a year with the Delaware National Guard. I still remember the day he asked me to pin his bars on him. He stood ramrod straight. How proud Jill and I and our entire family felt. Like so many of you, we also remember how hard it was when he was deployed. Empty seats at the dinner table, missed holidays and birthdays, prayers of hope and worry, repeated every morning and every night. Just as we ask everything of our veterans, we ask everything of their families. The English poet John Milton wrote, and I quote, "They also serve who only stand and wait, as so many of you have." So for all the military families, to all those with a loved one still missing or unaccounted for, to all Americans grieving the loss of a loved one who wore the uniform, Jill and I want you to know we see you, we thank you, and we'll never stop working to meet our sacred obligation to you and your families. Jill and I, Doug and Kamala, our entire administration, are proud of our work over the past 4 years. Together we passed more than 30 bipartisan laws to support our veterans and their families, caregivers, and survivors. We brought veterans' homelessness down to a record low. We delivered more benefits to more veterans than any ever before in VA history. We've invested record resources to reduce the scourge of veteran suicide. We took action to protect veterans from scams because no veteran should be defrauded by those they defended. All these actions are vital, but I'm particularly proud of finally passing the PACT Act. This is the most significant law in our history, our nation's history, to help millions of veterans who are exposed to toxins like Agent Orange and burn pits during their military service. Pits the size of football fields that incinerated the wastes of war, tires, chemicals, batteries, jet fuel, and so much more. Pits that left too many veterans with headaches, numbness, dizziness, asthma, and cancer. The PACT Act has already helped over 1 million veterans and their families get the benefits they deserve. They deserve those benefits. Today, I'm proud to announce that the VA will expand the number of cancers covered under the PACT Act. And to all veterans who served at K2 Air Base in Uzbekistan, constantly surrounded by toxins, we want to honor you. We want to have your back, just like we did in Agent Orange, just like we're going to rule to make sure you don't have to prove your illness as a consequence of your service, which is often too hard to do. God willing, we will make sure that any rare condition you've developed is covered. We're committed to getting this rule in place by the end of my term. Folks, this matters. Too many of our nation's veterans have served only to return home to suffer from permanent effects of poisonous chemicals. Too many have died like our son Bo and like Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson, for whom the PACT Act was named. A couple years ago, after I signed the PACT Act, I handed a pen to his daughter, Braylee. She and her mom are with us today. I don't know where you are, but God love you. There they are. Stand up, ladies. Give me a word, I mean this. I'll never forget. After I handed the signing pen, that beautiful young lady who lost her whole world, she held the pen in her hand, and she looked at me and she said, "Thank you. Thank you for my daddy. God love you, honey. God love you." But I don't think she was just thanking me. She was thanking all of you here, all of us, everyone who fought hard and came together to keep our promise to our veterans, to keep the faith. My fellow Americans, we stand here today, we think about all that our veterans have given to our nation, serving and sacrificing in uniform, just as they serve and sacrifice here at home, as educators, firefighters, law enforcement officers, construction workers, entrepreneurs, business leaders, doctors, nurses, elected leaders, and so much more. And just as they routinely put aside differences to work together, this is the moment. This is the moment to come together as a nation, to keep faith in each other. The world is dependent on each of you and all of us, all of you, to keep honoring the women and the men and the families who have borne the battle, to keep protecting everything they fought for, to keep striving to heal our nation's wounds, to keep perfecting our union. We're the only nation in the world built on an idea. Every other nation is based on things like geography, ethnicity, religion. But we're the only nation, the only in the world, built on an idea. And that idea is we're all created equal, deserve to be created equal throughout our lives. We haven't lived up to it every time, but we've never walked away from it. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And today, standing together to honor those Americans who have dared all, risked all, and given all to our nation, we must say clearly, we never will give up. God bless our veterans and their families. And may God protect our troops today and always. God love you. Thank you so much.
Distinguished guests, please stand and join the United States Marine Band and Navy Sea Chanters in singing God Bless America, and remain standing as we retire the colors. Place your right hand over your heart or render a hand salute.
Microphone, God bless America.
retire the colors. This concludes the 2024 National Veterans Day observance. Please be seated for the departure of the President of the United States and the official party. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate and honor all who served.
Thank you.